Hi there, it's Jo, talking about my gastric sleeve surgery planned for about 3.5 weeks from now in Mexico. I am 5'7" and currently weigh about 251 pounds, according to the scale this morning. I talked about in my last post kind of assembling the team, if you will, that I felt like I was going to need support from after my surgery. So I just visited a nutritionist and wanted to kind of share with you what happened there. She was very supportive of the fact that I was having surgery in Mexico, which I was actually a little bit nervous about. I've just been hesitant, like kind of heard stories that doctors in particular aren't real supportive of that. So was happy that, she had sort of no judgment on that piece. And actually I think was probably interested in just having a normal conversation instead of having to fill out like the bariatric insurance form, which I think is the reason a lot of people go to a nutritionist before surgery, because insurance requires it. So I brought a list of supplements I had read about, and we kind of went through them. She reiterated that a good multivitamin is pretty standard. That'll be required, for the rest of my life. We talked quite a bit of about protein. I'll come back to that. Iron, she mentioned that the recommended daily amount is about 18 milligrams a day. She said I might need to get that in addition to the multi if it's not in there. Vitamin B12, she said that as long as I'm getting enough animal protein, I should be okay with vitamin B12, but she didn't have a ton of experience with bariatric patients. She had certainly read a lot of information, but I think the vitamin B12 one, it might be one that I'll kind of keep an eye on. And I'll come back to actually how I want to keep an eye on that stuff. Folate, she said probably should be in the multivitamin, but that's something that I'll check. Calcium, she said I may need to take separate from the multi if it doesn't have enough. She said 500 milligrams a day would be appropriate for me as a woman. Vitamin D was something that she actually was kind of the third thing she recommended, is maybe being the third supplement that I would take individually. So a multi, a calcium, and then she said a vitamin D would be good, and she recommended about 2,000 international units a day, which I think is pretty standard. The other ones I asked her about were vitamin A, zinc, and vitamin B1. She felt like I should be okay with those if I'm consuming, ultimately kind of a normal diet. But again, those are ones that I probably won't kind of buy initially, but might keep an eye on post-surgery. So this whole concept of kind of keeping an eye on things, I asked about blood testing for actually getting like an idea of how I am doing on a number of those nutrients that I just mentioned. She thought that certainly doing something post-op to see how I am with those nutrients would be a good idea. So I think she said that's a blood test I could order through my doctor. I have an appointment with my doctor in about 5 days, so I'm going to put that on the list of something to ask for. Probably, I'll get her recommendation, but probably about 6 weeks after surgery, maybe 2 months, and then again, maybe 6 months after surgery, get another test just to, rather than guesstimate, know if I'm getting the right supplements. So, talked about that. She did recommend a book by Margaret Furtado, Furtado, that she thought would be quite good. She apparently writes about bariatric surgery, so I'll check that out, let you know how that goes. And kind of other big things I took away from the appointment, I'm going to look into the concept of mindful eating, kind of minimizing the distractions and being very much focused on the food that you eat versus, in front of the TV and in the car and all these things that so many of us do. So I'm going to look more into that as well. I thought that was a good suggestion. And then she offered a couple suggestions on kind of protein powders and shakes and things, which I'll look into and do a post on. So that's it. I'm going to get a multivitamin. I'm going to get calcium vitamins and vitamin D. Start there and get blood tests ordered through my doctor, and we'll see what happens. So have a great day. Thanks.